Hello guys, welcome back. My name's Nathan and today I'm going to be discussing 10 different NHL players who surprised me the most so far this season. Now the start of this NHL season has been absolutely insane. We've seen so many different surprises on both the team level and especially on the player level. So who do I see as the most surprising players right now in the NHL, how they performed, and which surprising players make my top 10? For all my surprising players and rankings, watch till the end to find them all out. Now keep in mind that for my 10 surprising players, I'll be looking at players that have surprised me in a good way, vastly playing over my expectations and just proving me wrong so far. I'll be making a separate video that is pretty much the opposite of this, looking at players that have surprised me in the wrong way, probably saying disappointing players or something, but keep that in mind. These are players that exceeded my expectations rather than the other way around. Now jumping straight into this topic and delving into my first super surprising player of the year, I think we can all share this, that being James Neal. Of course, left winger at age 32 of the Edmonton Oilers, James Neal has been freaking fantastic. With the Edmonton Oilers, I really didn't expect that much. Maybe 20, 30, maybe even 40 points if he gets really good power play time. But he has been amazing. And with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, has been way better than we ever expected. So far, this man right here is a point per game through 11 games. So with 11 games, having 9 goals, 2 assists for 11 points. And for Calgary Flames fans, they must be wondering, where did this come from? Why couldn't we have this? And I kind of agree with them, because Calgary just gave up a point per game player for Milan Lucic. And I think it surprised everybody. I think James Neal surprised the Edmonton Oilers. But hey, I love to see it. I love me the real deal James Neal, and it's good to see him back. Now going to my number 2 surprising player for the NHL season so far, we have John Carlson of these guys, the Washington Capitals. Defenseman at age 29, who is leading the NHL in points. I don't care who you are, I don't care how much you love the Washington Capitals, you are lying if you expected that. Now so far through 13 games this season, John Carlson has 5 goals, 16 assists for 21 points. I knew John Carlson was going to have a good season. I didn't predict him to be in the Norris Trophy voting, but with the way he's playing, dude, he kind of has to be up there. He is really bad defensively this year, but that offense more than makes up for it. On the power play, he's just been absolutely insane. Obviously, it does help having Nicholas Backstrom, Kuznetsov, and Alex Ovechkin on that power play, but even with that, he's leading that team in points, and that's super impressive. Now getting into my 3rd surprising player of the year so far, and I am pretty happy that this guy has proved me wrong because he's had an excellent season, and kudos to him for rebounding. That being Connor Hellebuyck of the Winnipeg Jets. Goalie at age 26, good old American. Connor Hellebuyck in 8 games so far has been absolutely amazing for Winnipeg. That defense is really, really bad. The stats he's putting up are pretty fantastic. Now, Connor Hellebuyck through 8 games so far with Winnipeg has put up a 2.38 goals against average and a .929 save percentage. And as a person who pretty much discounted Connor Hellebuyck from the elite goalie conversation, so far he's been putting himself up there and he's been having an amazing season so far. And after that 2018 season, he was looked at as one of the best goalies in the league, and after last season, that hype just dipped down. He was absolutely terrible, especially with the defense and the overall team he had. But now with Winnipeg, he has a worse defense, a worse team, but has put up way better stats, and from looking at him, he's been a lot better too. And it's fantastic. While this stats might not translate to the full year, 8 games in, I've been super impressed by what I've seen. Now going to my 4th surprising player of the year, I'm going to give some credit where it is due. JT Miller has been absolutely amazing for the Vancouver Canucks, and it's great to see. Center age 26, another good old American. With Tampa, I really was not impressed with his timeline on Tampa, to be honest. He had a couple of years there, and while he did put up points pretty decently, I think it was inflated by the teammates he had and the amazing power play time he got too. On a team like Tampa, it's easy to put up points, but he really wasn't that effective, especially compared to the other teammates he had. And he was traded from Tampa, mostly a cap dump, but Vancouver traded that 1st round pick. It was a huge risk, but so far, it is paying off. Now, through 10 games with the Vancouver Canucks, JT Miller has gotten 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. But even without those amazing point numbers, JT Miller, unlike his time in Tampa, has actually been one of Vancouver's best players. And especially when it comes to forwards, you could say maybe Bo Horvat has been better, but JT Miller has been one of the best players on that team. And that's saying something when you got guys like Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser. It's been looking amazing for them. It still is a huge risk to trade that first-round pick, but right now it's paying off in more ways than one for the Canucks. Now, sticking with the trend of the Tampa Bay Lightning, on to my 5th surprising player of the year. Somebody that, dude, like, of course it happens this way. Of course he had to be this good. Kevin Shattenkirk. Now, Kevin Shattenkirk, buyout from the New York Rangers, he was horrendous in New York. Didn't put up points, and when he didn't even play all that well. But in Tampa has been one of Tampa's best players, and as a Lightning fan, I can attest, one of their best defensemen. Of course, Tampa just puts guys like that and makes them fantastic, but so far, he's been as good as advertised, and better too. And in 9 games so far for the Bolts, Shattenkirk has gotten 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points so far. And after being so bad that New York couldn't even trade him, they had to buy him out. Kevin Shattenkirk goes on like an almost minimum league deal to Tampa 1 year and is carrying this team. With the way Tampa has played, they played solid, but they haven't played like the President's Trophy winner last year at least. Kevin Shattenkirk has been so good for Tampa, and in so many ways too. Now, going on to my 6th surprising player in the NHL so far. Honestly, Nick Schmaltz has been fantastic, and I've been waiting a long time for this to actually happen. With the Arizona Coyotes, he is leading them in points and has done greatly for him. It took a couple of games for Arizona's offense, and specifically him, to really get it going, but now he's off to the races and is over a point per game. When he was first traded in that deal, which sent Dylan Strome and Brandon Perlini back to Chicago, I didn't really like the deal for both teams, but Nick Schmaltz got off to a little bit of a rough start in Arizona. Wasn't all too great last year, but this year's gotten off to a great start, and honestly, I couldn't be more happy. Now, with Arizona so far, he is leading them in points and is over a point per game. In 10 games so far for Arizona, has gotten 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. And as a guy who has liked Nick Schmaltz for a while, he was one of my favorite Blackhawks, if not the only Blackhawk I liked when he was in Chicago. It's great to see him finally start performing for Arizona. The past year was a little bit frustrating seeing him in Arizona, how bad defensively he was, and how kind of invisible he almost was offensively. But now he's starting to step up and in a big way. He's at age 23 right now, getting into the prime of his career, and hopefully we see him break out in a big way throughout the rest of the season. Now, speaking of breaking out in a big way, going to my 7th surprising player of the year so far, and newly acquired Carolina Hurricane, I have Erik Haula. Left winger, age 28, good old Finnish stud. Erik Haula has been absolutely amazing for Carolina. And after a pretty solid stint in Vegas, he just got traded and has been absolutely dynamite for Carolina. And for an offense that's had some struggles here and there, Erik Haula has had none. He's been that good. Now, Erik Haula so far with the Carolina Hurricanes has played 10 games, but has gotten 7 goals, 1 assist for 8 points. Erik freaking Haula has 7 goals in 10 games, and I really am happy for him because he was drafted by Minnesota, spent a long time of his career there, then was picked in the expansion draft by Vegas, spent his first time there and was amazing in the first year, but then in that 2018-2019 season was injured for most of the year, didn't play the playoffs, and was traded to the Carolina Hurricanes for cap space. This guy has 7 goals in 10 games, and I think he's making Vegas very, very sad right now. Now, going to my 8th surprising player of the NHL so far, this one, I can't even fathom this. This might be more surprising than James Neal, and that is saying something. For my 8th surprising player, I have Brad Hunt of the Minnesota Wild. This guy, this defenseman at age 31 that is totally a player in the NHL, is leading the Minnesota Wild in scoring. They don't have a great offense, but when you have Brad Hunt, a defenseman, as your leading scorer, 1, it's not going too well, and 2, Brad Hunt is the MVP so far. And I'm not even lying either. Brad Hunt in 10 games with Minnesota has gotten 4 goals, 2 assists for 6 points so far. He's leading the Minnesota Wild in scoring through 10 games. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to analyze it. All I know is that the Vegas Golden Knights gave up 2 back-to-back surprising players, and that's just sad. But with the Minnesota Wild, they have to rely on Brad Hunt to carry their offense and their defense. So it's going pretty well for them so far this season. Now going to my 9th surprising player of the NHL so far. This is a player that I've loved for a very long time, but I'm still surprised by how good he's played. That being Oskar Lindblom of the Philadelphia Flyers. Now Lindblom, left winger, age 23, the Swedish stud. He had a pretty unique situation last year where he was putting up points with very solid, but didn't get that much ice time in Philadelphia. Now he's getting a bigger amount of time on the ice. He's playing well and is putting up a lot of points too. Now, so far of 8 games with Philly, Lindblom has put up 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points. And again, I like Lindblom a lot, but his point production has been absolutely amazing to see. Philadelphia hasn't been amazing when it comes to their record, but I think they played pretty well, and Lindblom has been one of their best players. And I don't think that's a really negative for Philadelphia, because I think Lindblom has just played that well. I think he's playing like one of the better players in the NHL right now, and it's fantastic, because I've been keeping up with his career for a while now. He was a 5th round pick back in 2014, so it's taken him a little while to get to the NHL and play this well. But as a 5th round pick, he's looking like an absolute steal and one of Philadelphia's best players. Now going to my final surprising player of the NHL season so far. Now going to a player that I'm sure the New York Rangers could definitely use right now, that being Vladislav Namestnikov. Now, Namestnikov, center/winger, at age 26, Russian guy. He was traded to the Ottawa Senators like 2 games into the season. And at that point, I think he was playing like one of New York's better players. And while it was a short sample size, I thought he had a pretty good season up to that point. But they traded him to Ottawa in a trade that I don't think really made sense for either team at the time. But he's been pretty fantastic with the Ottawa Senators and has been one of their best forwards. Yes, there's not much competition there, but still. Now with NYR and the Sens, Namestnikov has played 10 games so far. He's gotten 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points as well. And he wasn't playing amazingly on New York, but with the Ottawa Senators, with that big opportunity, with that top line time and power play time every single game, he's been pretty fantastic. And for Ottawa, again, on a team that doesn't have many options, he's been able to put up points rather easily and has gotten a bigger opportunity, a new breath of fresh air, and has played fantastic. I'm not sure if this will last for Ottawa, if he'll continue to play this way, but right now he's a player that the Rangers could definitely use in more ways than one. But those are my 10 surprising players in the NHL so far. So let me know down in those comments down below what you think of my 10 picks. What do you agree and what do you disagree with as well? And the question on to you. Who is the most surprising player in the NHL right now to you? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you should click on this card right here to watch my video on Capo Caco and why the New York Rangers have failed him, at least so far. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, boys, and hit that notification bell. If you're still watching this video at this point miraculously, let me see down in the comments, Namestnikov is a god. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe as well. Share this video with your friends. Trying to get the Grav gang up to 10K subscribers, boys. We can do it. I know we can. If we believe in ourselves, anything is possible. I'm Nathan, and I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.